Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a quick update to share about a January 6th convict who disappeared and then failed to turn himself in after being sentenced to prison. So this is 31-year-old Indiana resident Antony Vo. He had been convicted by a jury on 4 misdemeanor counts, the basic 4 that I always mention to you guys. And this was, of course, after he went into the Capitol on January 6th with his mother. And while Vo was awaiting trial in the case, he violated the terms of his pretrial release, and he, as a result, was ordered to comply with a daily curfew. He was also completely defiant. He showed no remorse for his actions. He continued to spread conspiracy theories about the Capitol attack and how his case was being handled. And check this out. The judge even allowed this spoiled brat to go on a cruise while he was awaiting trial. Yet he still bitched and moaned about how he was being treated unfairly, and he called the whole process a kangaroo court. I mean, I guess, yeah, if you get to go on a cruise while you're awaiting trial for attacking your own government, maybe it is a kangaroo court. Obviously, they're far too lenient with these people. So the court wasn't happy with Vo, to say the least. And in April of 2024, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan sentenced him to 9 months in prison, 1 year of probation, and $1,000 in a fine. And even though the judge was clearly irritated by Vo, she agreed that he could report to prison at a later date. So she could have done what some of these judges have done and said, take him away. You know, she could have had the marshals immediately take him into custody and put him in prison at his sentencing hearing. But she gave him a break and granted him a reprieve and said, okay, you can come back, you can, turn yourself in and serve out your prison sentence at a later date. And then he even asked for an extension, and she granted that extension and gave him even more time and said, okay, you can turn yourself in on June 14th of 2024. Well, he never showed up, just blew it off, and the authorities started searching for him. They thought that he might be in Canada, and now they have confirmed that. So he has been living in Canada. He is seeking asylum in that country. And Vo told a news outlet, quote, "Our country, ourselves, we have a long history of standing up for our rights, what we believe in. The majority of January 6 people have been held more than accountable. I think at a fundamental level, like at a foundational level, the whole January 6 thing is just so politicized and corrupted. I think that we're entirely misrepresented. We're basically entrapped and treated like very differently than any other protesters." Yeah, you were, because you were allowed to leave on January 6th. You weren't beaten to a pulp by the police. You weren't kettled as they did with the BLM protesters and threatened and knocked on the ground and hit with all kinds of chemicals at point blank range. Yeah, you were treated differently. You were given a pass. You were allowed to go home and sleep in your own beds that night. Anyway, Vo also said he thought that he had the legal right to enter the Capitol on January 6th, and he told the news outlet, quote, "I really thought that the police were keeping their oaths to the Constitution and were stepping aside to let us exercise our constitutionally guaranteed rights. I thought it was totally permitted." Yeah, because, the alarms, the police blocking everyone, pushing people out, using flashbang grenades. Yeah, that wasn't a sign that you weren't permitted in the building. And Vo's asylum application falsely states that he was charged with crimes due to, quote, "purely political persecution." So, according to this news outlet, Vo has already completed his medical evaluation in Canada, but he wants assurances from the Canadian government that he's not going to be deported back to the US because of his fugitive status. So apparently, he's already canceled one eligibility hearing because of that issue. Vo, though, he says, oh, I'm not concerned because he believes that Donald Trump is going to pardon him after he's sworn in as president. So Vo told the reporter, quote, I have no reason to doubt that President Trump is a man of his word, and he will make extreme efforts to pardon all of us. That's how delusional, that's how uninformed these people are. A man of his word. Yeah, really? Ask any of his 3 wives if he's a man of his word, or ask anyone who's ever done work for him, who he stiffed and who didn't get paid. One man who took his own life, or ask his business partners from Truth Social. They believed him. They thought he was a man of his word after they worked with him on The Apprentice, and then he screwed them over too. Yeah. Anyway, Vo is with his mommy. She was also arrested and charged for the Capitol attack. Her case has not been adjudicated yet, though. So she is also now a fugitive because she was not allowed to leave the country without prior approval. So we'll see. I mean, Trump probably will pardon these people just to make a good show of it on day one, and to prove to MAGA that, oh, see, I keep my word, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the red meat he's going to throw to them so that he can completely screw them over financially. And then he'll point to January 6th and go, oh, well, look, I kept my word. I let all these people go, while handing everything to his billionaire buddies. And MAGA will go along with it because that's what happens in a cult. You don't call out the cult leader. They can never fail you. It's always someone else's fault. And, oh, it's going to be Congress and whomever else they're going to blame for why Trump can't do what he wants to do, even though they're going to hold the presidency, the House, and the Senate, just as they did during the first 2 years of his presidency. So anyway, I will let you know if I hear any more and if this guy actually does get deported or, kicked out and sent back to the US. But yeah, I mean, had to move to another country because he's too chicken to just be held accountable here for his crimes that were proven in a court of law. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.